And welcome back to Hand Collectibles for another FANHOME review and assembly. Now this is I think the third package that we've had now, third or fourth. This is issue 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. So we're starting to really build on the issues now per package. So it's like a bit more money, but you'll build it quicker. And I think we're getting 6 issues per package now. So as you can see, we have all the assembly parts for the 6 issues and the assembly books for the 6 issues. So we'll have a look through each book, see what information there is inside, and then we'll start to assembly. And here we are with issue number 9 and assembly parts. So we'll just take a quick closer look at the assembly parts. Issue number 9. Just move them out of the way and we'll have a quick look through the booklet. Issue number 9 gives you a bit more about export models. Rice burners, as people like to call them. A bit about the villain in the Too Fast, Too Furious film. And a bit about racing. A bit about Japanese history. And as you can see, stage 9 front suspension system. And you can see the bits there that we've got to put together in this issue. We'll flip to the pages and the back, and then that will tell you what it looks like when you get to the end of the issue. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. And here we are with issue number 9's assembly parts. So you can see you've got some assembly parts for the suspension system, and then you've got some EM and AM and AIM screws to put together. So not mass loads in this issue to put together, but as you can see, just a couple of parts just to go on the front suspension system. Okay, let's start to put these together. So firstly, I'm going to get this part, turn it up this way, and then this drops into that hole and pushes in. You can see there's an L on this one for the left hand side. That's what it will look like. And then the next step is this mount that goes on the next step. What screws do we need? We need some AM screws. A couple of AM screws. And obviously the mount just goes across here. We'll put the mount in place. AM screw. Won't go fully too tight before we put the next one in as well. We can tighten them right up. I think you're going to have to go tight right up. There you go, that's in. Obviously you can see this still moves from left to right. Might have to make the slack off a little bit. There you go, that's that part complete. Put that screw back in its packet, just in case we need it later. Always keep your screws, you never know when you're going to need a couple of spares. And the next step is an AIM screw. And then we have this part here. Looks like it goes up this way and attaches to the top here. The AIM screw goes in here. Now on the underside there's like 2 notches, so I think it's meant to just go above there. The notch sits above that part there. By the looks of it, we'll go tighter. That's it, as you can see. That. Pretty sure that that's what it's meant to look like. The clamp installed. This part on top. Move on to the next part. Move that to one side for a moment, and then it's just these 2 parts here. And it looks like when I'm looking at the instructions that it goes this way around. And this part just fits in the centre. And then there is a EM screw that goes in either side. So let's just get some EM screws. 1, 2. There we go. All we have to do is insert these EM screws, 1 in either side. So line the hole up. Line the other side up as well. Quite tight to do up this bit. Once they start to work their way in, they're going quite easy once you get past that spot. There you go. Just loosen them off just a little bit, just in case it's a moving part. Right, that's that part done. As you can see, screw on either side. That to one side. And then we are adding this part. Oh, see this part fits here. And that is held on with another EM screw. Let's get an EM screw out. There we go. Get that. Goes that way. And this part. Looks like it attaches. Looks like it attaches there. I think. Just going to double check the instructions closely. Okay, I've checked the instructions and it should fit like there, and then your screw goes into the front. So line them up. You can get the screw. Start to wind it through. There we go. Now it's pinched the rear bracket as well. So as you can see there, that's where it sits. Do it up a bit tighter. Don't know how tight I need to do it up yet, so I'm just going to tighten it a tad more. I think that's it, so it moves. And that completes issue number 9. I think what's left to do is to attach it to the rear subframe, the front subframe. Here we have the front subframe. So looking at the instructions, it's all on the left hand side, and then obviously this little dowel fits in this hole here. And then it'll be connected at the bottom here with a AIM screw. Let's just get that out. As you can see with these, got like a flat part on it, which will then just keep the bottom of that suspension arm in place. I think there's meant to be definitely a bit of movement in there, because obviously it turns. Maybe we can go a little bit tighter than that. A bit there. So I'll go a little bit tighter. Yep, a little bit tighter there, and that's it. That's that side on. Almost missed it. Actually, the last couple of bits on this, but there's only one more bit to fit, and it is the gator cover. Well, the gator cover, I believe, just goes on. Looks like it goes on the underside of there. It's not that one. It's this one. Yep, that's it. Just pushes on the inside. That's the gator cover. Then you put the last couple of bits to one side for another issue. And then that really does complete issue number 9. We'll move on to issue number 10. And here we have issue number 10 with its assembly parts. Have a quick look at the assembly parts. Quite excited about this one because it's the turbo. Obviously it's quite an integral part of the Skyline, quite an integral part of the Fast and Furious franchise. Size of the turbos on cars. I'll move that to one side, have a quick look through the booklet. So it's giving you a bit about the famous RB26DETT engine, which is obviously the Skyline's engine. That Roman Pierce, the character from Too Fast and Furious, so you can see a bit about turbos and twin turbos. A bit more about Nismo and racing history. A bit more about the history of Nissan. As you can see, stage 10 turbo system. As you can see, it's the assembly guide, and then what the engine should look like when you've added both turbos. Yeah, super excited to put this one together. So let's move on to the assembly. Okay, here we are with issue number 10. As you can see, we have an arrangement of screws. We have CP, KPs, KMs and AP screws. And as you can see, this time I've kept it all in the clam tray, just because there's so many parts here. I thought I'd just keep it here just so I can keep it organised while I'm putting it together. So obviously this time you've got the 2 turbos, so you know, we're going to be fitting stuff to the engine. Yeah, this is a very cool issue, and this will really make an impact to the assembly of the engine. So let's move on. Okay, here we go for the first couple of assembly parts. So we have this pipe we put together. As you can see, it only goes one way because of the hole. We'll put that in. Then we have this little sensor, which then just pushes down on top, like that. That's that part complete. Move on to the next. Okay, move on to the next parts to put on, and we have the exhaust manifolds. Got 2 of these. As you can see, I've got the engine back out now, which has really got some real weight to it. And we're not even finished completing it yet. So let's have a look, see where these manifolds go. And we'll spin this over. The manifolds just go along this line here. See which way round they go. Okay, so they go this way around, big hole at the top here, and they attach here, and then the other one here. These parts are both the same, so it doesn't really matter which way you got them round, because they're the same. Also, you can see like the little dowel that sticks out the middle here, so you want to insert that into the center one, and then with your KM screws, this smaller screwdriver this time. I'm trying to do it with a bigger screwdriver. I'll just insert that one there. Don't go too tight, it's tight enough so you can feel it all clamped together. Done. Get the other screw, and it goes in the underside there as well. Done. Just insert this one as well. Push it in just so it holds. And get your screw, put that in. Anyone who's built one of FANHOME's cars before, the engines are just so detailed. You know, I did the Dodge Charger before this one, and it really was something. You know, the engine alone as a standalone piece, so detailed. And this one, you know, it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, that's them tight enough. That's your 2 manifolds on. Move on to the next step. Okay, here we have the 2 turbos, and obviously the back part of the turbos to fit. As you can see, they only really go one way. You just push them in. Really nice detailed part, painted really well. And the next one, push it in. Job done. That's both your turbos. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, here we have the next parts to fit to the turbo. So obviously we have our turbo, we'll just put the back on. And then obviously you have this part as well. So these 2 of these, they're both the same. And they just fit onto the back of the turbo. And you insert it's a CP screw on these. into the rear hole. Don't go too tight because you'll strip the thread. And that's how it's it. And just repeat it with the second turbo. Just tight enough. As you can see, we have turbos with the little manifolds on there as well. So let's move on to the next parts. Okay, the next part of the assembly is we're fitting this pipe to the rear of one of the turbos. I mean, the turbos are the same, so you don't have to worry. See, in this pipe just fit into the back here. Line the lines up, and obviously we've got some KP screws. A smaller one, so keep using that smaller screwdriver. Let's line this up again, like that. Insert your screw, get this one lined up. Like I say, don't go too tight because this is plastic on plastic thread. If you go too tight, you run the risk of stripping the thread out, and then maybe having to glue the piece just so it stays together, which you don't want to do. You just want to go tight enough so you can see the gap in between the two parts disappear. If you really go tight, you don't want to go no tighter than that. Last screw. That's it. And as you can see, stand pipe fitted to the back of the turbo. Right, what's next? Okay, the next stage, it looks like, is to connect this turbo. And it fits on the underneath of here, so there's a little dowel that sticks out at the bottom. So you can tell that it's, the turbo goes on an angle. And while that's got that, you've got a AP screw to go in the top. Let's line this up, put the AP screw in. Right down the top of the manifold. And you'll feel it start to go tight. That's it, there's no wiggle room about in that now. As you can see, turbo on, to a slight angle. Very cool. Okay, then the next stage is to put maybe it's this part. And this part together. We need some 3 more, one more KP screw. As you can see, this part here, it kind of looks like it only fits one way anyway. Which is this way. KP screw. Yep, only fits one way. Line it up. It's got a fiddly part to hold this one and line it up. There we go. A bit tighter, not much, because obviously it's plastic on plastic. That's that part done. And then I think we're going to attach this one to the back of the turbo, so very similar to the other one, to the back of the turbo, like that. And this will have 3 KP screws. 2, one more. Third one. Okay, let's attach this pipe to the back of the turbo. Line it up, line the screw holes up. One. Two. And the final one goes on just on the underside. That's it. Then we're going to just do very similar to what we did with the last one. See, it just inserts there. And it's a AP screw to go down the top of the exhaust manifold to the top of the turbo bracket. So just down. Oh. Might have to make sure you hold the turbo in place. Turbo in place. Line the hole up. Fit it when it drops into the hole. Feel it when it starts to go tight when you tighten it, and there you go. Turbo 1, turbo 2. Super cool look. Coming off the top of the manifolds. Okay, what's next? We've got two little covers are the next two bits to fit. One in here, one in here, and they are both the same piece, and they just, it looks like they're just the top of the covers to go on the manifolds. One there, one in there, and that one there and there. There you go, it just covers up that hole. Very cool. Okay, the next step I think is to insert these like turbo drive valves. They're both the same, so you don't need to worry too much about which one goes in which side. They just push in with a bit of friction. I believe it goes there. That's it. You'll feel them clicking. Yeah, that's it. Like that and that. And we've just got this intake. Looks like it comes out of here. There you go. Like that. And then we've got this rear one as well. It just fits in here. But it just looks like that. Very cool. And that completes issue number 10. And that's all the parts for issue number 10 done. Yep. And as you can see, we'll have a quick look at the detail and the parts we've added. Engine's really starting to come along now. Right, let's move on to issue number 11. And here we have issue number 11 with assembly parts. As you can see, there's quite a few parts with this issue. As you can see, we get a pair of tweezers because it obviously looks quite fiddly. Some of these bits are quite small to put together. So let's have a quick look through the booklet. Put it back to one side. And what do we have in issue number 11's booklet? About the four-wheel drive system on the Skyline. A bit more about Too Fast, Too Furious film and the storyline. A bit about rally series. You get a lot of history in these books with Skyline, whether it be Nismo, whether it be, you know, all different parts of Nissan. Yeah, as you can see, there was quite a lot of small bits for this one to go on the engine. I'm quite excited now because the engine's really starting to come together. As you can see, what it will look like when you finish this, or these parts of the assembly. Yeah, okay, let's move on to assembling it. Here we are with issue number 11's parts. There's a lot of parts involved in this one. There's a lot of bits that I think are maybe going to need cutting off with a model knife before inserting them. Obviously you get your tweezers. There's a lot of little bits that need to be inserted on the engine. Okay, let's crack on. Let's start to assembly this mountain of parts that you get in this issue. Okay, the first part to install is this bar here. As you can see, there's loads of holes on the underside. It just, as we've moved them out of the way, I think it just inserts there. Job done. It's just like a bar that goes there. That was easy enough. Let's move on to the next stage. Okay, moving on to the next part of the assembly stage. As you can see, we have these. We have plugs. Got some red ones and the blue ones, and then we've got this red bar, and they insert into the red bar. I believe there's a lower line of holes and a higher line of holes. The lower line is your blue ones, the higher line is the red ones. So we'll just start to insert these. Check which way they go round. The lower line. Insert them in, and they kind of just look like that. Just move that engine back a little bit. Bit fiddly to get in, but once they're in, they're in. a little bit cut off the back and cut a nut off of it, because obviously they come on a stem. You have to cut them all off. Be careful if you use your modelling knife. See, they are sharp. Although I do think you get some spares just in case you break any. Make sure they're all angled the right way. There you go. Now we'll do the red ones, and they go obviously on the higher line. Double check with the instructions. And face the opposite direction, facing up. They are extremely fiddly to put in, so do use the tweezers if you need to put them in. I find it slightly easier probably to not use the tweezers and just insert them with my fingers. Don't quite look right though. Be careful you obviously don't break off the bottom ones either. Okay, so there is a bit of scope to spin them after. Here you can see, red one side, blue the other. You get two spares on each side. We'll put them just on one side for the moment. Right, that's that bit done. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, for the next stage you will actually need your tweezers, because we are going to be inserting these. We'll be inserting these into these holes that go along here. So, definitely going to be a bit fiddly to put in. See, one in. in. Three. These are very fiddly to do. Oh. Obviously the higher you get up the engine, there's some parts that are in your way, so you can't go in as flat as you was before. There we go. More to do. Make sure they're all seated right. One more to put in, and obviously looks like you get 2 spares of these as well. There we go. As you can see, that's where they all sit. Really small parts, hence the reason you get the tweezers. But all adds to the detail. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So the next stage is just to fit this bar in these two dowels in these 2 holes here and here. I did have these little black nodules the one way around. I had them folded in, and they need to be other way around, folded out. I took a little bit of plastic just out of here just to make it a bit more of a comfortable fit, because it was quite tight, it was, to put them in. So I'm just going to fit this now, push it down just so it fits nice and tight. And you see, right. Very cool. So let's move on to the next stage of the build. Okay, the next stage is to just insert these 2 bits, and they go on obviously the top of the engine. So we'll move this about. You got this part here. This part. It just fits on the back of the engine, and it's just a push in. Then you got this part here, and then that just fits right there, like that, and pushes in. And then the next step's just to put these 2 parts on, like this and this, and it looks like just go on the back of the engine. Double check there. Okay, so you want to push them into the push fit. I think they go only one way, I think they're the same. Definitely a bit fiddly to get in. the same. Okay, so just give them a push and a bit of a wiggle as you put them in, and they will go in. That's it. In nice and flush. And the next step, let's put this on, like a little bar. Yeah, that goes here to here, across there. Right, about the other way actually. Yeah, it looks better. There's a slight mould mark from the casting on the underside, so if that yours is the same, just turn it around, that way you get a nice smoother finish on the top side. And the next part is just to fit this bit of pipe, which fits on the underside of this pipe. It might even be worth taking that out, fitting the pipe. Fitting the pipe back in the turbo. And then there you go. That's better. Looks very cool. As you can see, the engine's really started to come along now. It's not the engine, don't think it'll be far from completion. The next stage is to build the compressor housing. So I believe should all line up. It's all got like little notches, so it only go together one way. There we go. Compressor housing on its little hinge. And then this attaches in the underside of the engine. There's two little holes here on a bracket, so you can angle the bracket a bit more. I think it's just push fit, but don't want to snap it. If you're not, there we go. You just use the screwdriver just to push it in. I think that's it. I think it's in place now. Yep. I think it maybe could do with a little bit more of a push in. And that's it now. It goes there. Yep. Right, what's next on this? We've got this. Have a little bit. Looks like this just fits in the top of that housing as well. There we go. Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, the next part is just to fit this little mount on the underside. Remove lift that bracket up. Goes in there. And then just have one screw to put in. Try not to grab your engine too tight. Putting this in. Change the screwdriver. Tighter. Start that moving about. That's it. And then there, just fits against it. It holds everything tight. And there's just one more part to fit on this issue, which is this bit here. Look at the parts, they all will just line up. There we go, just here and here. Then this is just a push fit piece again. There we go, pushed in place. Now you've got to be really careful when you're pushing these bits in place that you don't snap anything else off the engine. Obviously there's so many parts now which are protruding about. So yeah, very cool. That brings us to the end of issue 11. Okay, move on to the next issue. And here we have issue number 12 with assembly parts. Have a quick look at the assembly parts. So not as many as in the last two issues, part wise. Obviously, because you're getting 6 issues now per package, and obviously it still means there's a lot of parts to put together. Let's move them to one side and we'll have a quick look through issue number 12's booklet. A bit more about the 4-wheel drive system. A bit about modifying the Skyline GTR. All about Nismo. Not too sure about Nismo being a fashion icon, but there you go. And then you've got stage 12 front suspension system. Obviously there's your assembly guide, and then what it should look like when it's fully assembled. Okay, let's put it all together. Okay, here we have the parts for issue 12. As you can see, it's the other side of the suspension. So we'll assemble this, and then I think it'll fit onto the lower subframe as well. Okay, without further ado, let's put this together. So the first step, as you see, it's R for right hand side this time. I'll take this and then just insert this in, like last time. And then we've got this bracket to fit in with some AM screws, 2 of them, 1, 2. Just line the bracket up. Insert the screws. Don't go really tight until you've got them both in. This part should go together quite quickly because obviously we've already done this once on the opposite side. That's it. I think we'll just loosen these off just a little bit. That's it. Nice. That's that bit done. And the next part is to obviously fit this. With one of these special AIM screws. See, that goes there. Screw. And that goes in on the top. Watch your fingers. Okay. Go up just a little bit tight like that. With a slightly bigger screwdriver. That's it. Okay, bingo. That's that on. And the next stage is just to put this together. We have a EM screw in either side. And there. And not too tight with it until I've got the other side in as well. Loosen them off a little bit. Yep, a bit of keeping them apart. And then there's the part to go here. Be with another EM screw. Get an EM screw out. And line this up. That's it. Loosen that off a little bit. Just so it's all free flowing a little bit, I don't know how much of it. I'm going to need to move it. think that's right. Can't tell. We'll move on to the next step. Okay, right, I think that's ready. Add it to the subframe. Put the subframe back in. There's that side. Got this side as well. And it's another AIM screw. It'll go on the bottom of the subframe. Connect it. Just turn this over. And put a little screw right in here. A little bit tighter. There we go. As you can see, it's all looking the same. Here it is, and then one last step is to put the gator cover there. Done. Yeah. Done. And that puts the bottom part of the subframe together. There might be a couple of bits as we go on. We just tighten them up. I don't want to tighten things up too much at the moment in case it doesn't need to be tightened. It needs to move. Yep. Okay, we'll leave it like that, and that completes that stage. Obviously, there's, like last time, there's two other bits we'll put to one side for a later stage. Let's move on to stage 13. Here we have issue 13 with assembly parts. As you can see, it's the front suspension. So you can see suspension springs. That's quite exciting. I do like it when you get integral parts of the car put together. As you can see, with every booklet you get a lovely image of what the model is and what it will look like when it's complete. It's going to go really well with the Dodge Charger, this one. As you can see, we'll flip through the booklet. Multi-link suspension, so as it is, you're getting the suspension parts and it's telling you about the suspension in the booklet. It's quite a nice link. A bit more about the Too Fast Too Furious film, Nismo and the racing. As you can see, front steering and suspension system, and obviously you get your assembly guide, and then obviously what it should look like on its final assembly. Okay, let's move on and put these together. Okay, here we are with issue 13's parts. As you can see, we have an arrangement of screws this time, some EMs, some AMs, some MMs, some UMs and some AIMs, and then obviously the suspension parts as well. Obviously some of this is like metal as well, which is good, like the springs. Actually are springs. Very nice. So this should really add some stability to the front of the car with the suspension. Yeah, okay, let's crack on, let's put this together. Okay, the first step, take this part here. As you can see, it's got an L on it, the left hand side. And then this part goes in the top. Making sure this nodule is here. And then you just insert your EM screw into the front while holding it. You've got to make sure it goes all the way through. You'll feel it when it does. You can see it from the other side as well. There we go. That's that part complete. And then next stage is to insert the spring. Obviously this is your left hand sided part again, so obviously a little L here. There it is. This obviously goes over the top. You've got this. You just want to move it down, compress the spring and turn. I think that's in. Make sure we do it correctly, so we have to do that again. It doesn't matter which way you do that up. Obviously you have to compress this a fair bit and turn this. It's obviously quite difficult to do this. Just take up camera for a moment just so I can put it together. Always have to try and clamp the spring a little bit more. Needs a bit more clamping. Okay, that one's done. It's quite hard. I had to do it kind of off camera. So there's a little slit here, so you have to push it down and it moves across and then it comes back up, so it locks into place. So a bit fiddly to do, definitely really fiddly to do on camera. But yep, that's that one done. So, what's the next step? Okay, next step is to what we did with the same top of the other side. This one's got the half for the right hand side. We'll do the same. The nodule will go the opposite way. Put that in there. And then it fits together with a EM screw. Get up nice and tight. And we'll bring the other shock in. It'll be the same as the other side. You have to go really tight, push down, then try and swing it over and around like that. There you go, both sides done. Okay, the next stage is to attach the two shock absorbers. I think when we attach them, these little notches should be on each side, just pointing in towards the rear. That's what it looks like anyway, so I'm going to go with that. If I need to change them at a later date, I need to change them. But at the moment, that's what they look like. Put these AIM screws in. One here. The shock absorber moves up. On the other side then and on. sure we put them in right. Wonky. Back that out. There we go, it's in there. Going a bit more tighter. There we go. Shock absorbers in their upright positions. A little bit tighter on this side of this one. Okay, there you see it. So I think these little nostrils just pointing towards the rear, and that's how they sit. Right, let's move on to the next stage. Okay, the next stage is to put this, I think it's a lower track arm. It goes together, it's got some screws. As you can see, there's a centerpiece, and then there's these two bits that have got a slight kink in them. So I think they, well, what it looks like in the instructions, they kink that way. Put the screw in the front. And go right through to the other side. Yep, that's it. And we'll do the same with this side. And I've got them on the right way around. Put this screw on properly. Line the hole up. Try not to let it go. That's it. Someone's done. And one more step. This one, which is just to add this. That just sits in there like that. Okay, then if you bring the suspensions back in, turn it around, looks like actually it goes all this way. And then these lower bits fit here and here on either side, there and there. And that slides, you've actually got to put that on with it. A bit fiddly. Right in there. That in there, okay, and then I think this just needs to line up them two screw holes there. Yep, as you can see, so the suspension is working. Okay, so what screws do we need? Need some screws for here and here. Okay, we've got that in. And just go and then one at the other end as well. Very complex bit of suspension to build. I feel like we're kind of getting there now. As you can see, it moves up and down and left and right. Right. Then we're just going to use 2 AM screws to go here and here. So one there, just to hold that in place. One in. Definitely has been a complex couple of issues to put together, and now we're near enough there. The last issue is our brake disc. That'd be nice and easy one to finish on after putting all these together. And as you can see, there it is all together. Suspension arm moving. Very cool. Okay, that completes that issue. Let's move on to the next one. And here we have issue 14, the last issue in this package. So obviously, it takes a bit longer now with 6 issues. As you can see, this will be quite a simple one. So it's just the brake disc system and pads. We've already put one of these together already, so this one should be quite easy. As you can see, move that to one side and we'll have a look at the booklet. This time, nice picture of the rear of the car on the front of the booklet, whereas the last issue is front. Rear wheel drive, steering system. A lot of cutting edge stuff with the Nissan Skyline. A bit more about the characters in the Too Fast, Too Furious film. And a bit more now about the 24-hour Le Mans. And obviously onto your front left brake assembly guide. Obviously there isn't a lot to this one, it's quite a simple one to put together. And then what it should look like. And then another lovely picture of the front of the Skyline. Okay, let's move on and put this final bit together. And here we have the assembly parts for issue 13. As you can see, it's just the brake disc and brake pad assembly. A nice easy one to finish on after obviously it's been quite a complex couple of issues building suspension, but it's a nice easy one to finish on. And obviously we've already built one of these already, so it shouldn't be too bad at all. So we've got some ZP screws and then the main parts of the assembly. So let's put this together. So we'll start by compressing the brake pad together. Like so. It's meant to go a little bit tighter than that. I don't think so. I think that's meant to be it. Still got that. Okay, that's the brake caliper pressed together, ready to go on. And then we'll put the disc together now. So line up the holes. Easier said than done. There we go. And then insert your ZP screws into the hole. Don't go too tight because obviously it's plastic on plastic. Only a little screw. You'll end up stripping out the thread on it quite easy, and it'll ruin the part. Just tighten up. There you go. Disc. You can see. Well painted. Very cool. And then you put these to one side. I'll assemble these later on. And that brings us to the end of this package and these 6 issues that we've put together. So let's have one last look at the engine. As you can see, highly detailed. There's real weight to it now, look. You know, the turbos. Can't wait for the next issue to arrive. And we'll get this sitting probably in amongst the suspension. So the front end of the car, the running gear will all kind of be on. But yeah, there you go. Issues complete. Please do like and subscribe to the video. It really does help. Please give us that thumbs up notification. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. And you know, we've finished these issues and wait for the next package to arrive. So please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Get that bell notification. And as always, see you in the next video. Thank you.